Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tek Torrent Podcast. This is number 16 for the year. How is everyone doing? We got a fantastic show for you guys tonight. Things we're going to be going over. Andrew's got an update on his Threadripper. We'll be talking about how EKWB has laid off 25% of their workforce. Thermoride's LGA 1700 thing. You have to stay tuned for that one. AMD's rumored Phoenix APU giving you performance better than some dedicated graphics cards. And of course, NVIDIA's rumor of a 900-watt GPU. All that and more on the Tek Torrent Podcast. How you doing today, Andrew?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty well.
Awesome.
Good night for a stream, I'd say.
Yeah, the weather is pretty good out there today. It's a little windy, but it's all right. Let's go over who's in chat real quick. So we got CPPC Tech. How you doing, man? We got Dave Collins. How you doing, Mr. Dave Collins? We got Golden Wolf. How you doing, Mr. Golden Wolf? Thanks for coming by. If you are here, you feel free to say hi or whatever it may be. Let's see here. All right, Andrew, you want to go over some of the stuff you've been dealing with in your life?
Yeah. So most of you guys have heard about, my Threadripper Chronicles.
Chronicles? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah. So just filling you guys in, keeping you guys up to date. I am going to be going a different route. I am going to be no longer a Threadripper user.
What?
And I haven't quite decided which path I'm going to take next, but that is the plan. Get rid of Threadripper.
This is actually news to me too, guys.
Yeah, so I guess the idea stems from, you guys know I was having that issue with the fans and Gigabyte RMA to get those fans replaced. And my system was down for so long that I was using my laptop primarily. And then once I got the fans and the system all back together, I'm like, well, I didn't really miss it that much in terms of like having 32 cores and that kind of processing power. So I think I'm gonna be selling it. In fact, it's already for sale.
Oh, really? Okay.
And this isn't a plug.
Oh, okay. I was about to say you're violating rule number 5 there.
Yeah, no. But just PM me, DM me.
Whoa.
No,
PM,
no.
What are you, from 2004?
Actually, I am me.
I am me.
But yeah, no, I think I'm just going to be going with a regular desktop platform. I haven't quite decided yet if I want to go with AM4 or LGA 1700. There's pros and cons to both. The big appeal of AM4 is something we've talked about in the last few podcasts, is price drops and performance per dollar being very enticing. But Intel honestly doesn't seem too bad. If you try and put together a 12900K system.
Am I hearing this? Wow.
What, Intel?
Sorry, I thought is this the Twilight Zone? Andrew praising Intel for some reason? Wow. Okay. Continue.
Man, honestly, I'm not leaning towards Intel. I do see the value in their integrated GPUs.
Mm-hmm.
But man, their CPUs are super power hungry. If you want to actually get good performance out of them, you got to basically take off that power limit of whatever the TDP is, and then they're pulling like 250 watts, which is pretty crazy.
I thought that was just idle.
Yeah, no, that's idle, and they say it surges up to like 2,000 watts if you run anything CPU intensive.
Opening up calculator. 2 + 2.
Yeah, exactly.
5,000 watts.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I guess ultimately I'm probably gonna go with either a 5950X or a 12900K.
Okay.
And if I go Intel, I'm going DDR4, so that will keep the price down. I think they're probably gonna end up being pretty price comparable. But I think it's gonna come down to if we see a price drop on 5950X in the next month or two, because that's when I'm likely to be buying, probably in a month or two at the most. Unless there's a rumor of AM5 that makes me want to hit the brakes. But I don't think AM5 is going to be so much faster that I should turn down a good deal on an AM4 system.
It could be.
It could be, but
we don't know yet, though.
Buying onto AM4 at launch is going to be expensive.
Yes. I mean, if we've seen luckily the prices of stuff has kind of normalized, but I'm sure there's going to be your fair share of El Scalpos.
Yeah, and even if not, saving $20 on a bundle at Micro Center isn't going to be enough to get me to spend an extra $500-600 on just a new platform.
Yeah.
When there's a lot of AM4, there's a lot of life left in AM4, in my opinion. Whether or not the platform is officially dead, the CPUs are still pretty much as good as anything out there.
And for those of you that don't know, AM4 is the socket configuration for the current gen of AMD CPUs, kind of like LGA, whatever for Intel. Well, AM4 is the current generation.
All the Ryzen CPUs have been on AM4.
Yep. Let's catch up on chat real quick. So let's see.
Yep.
CPPC Tech says a 900-watt space heater. Hey, we're actually getting into normal space heater territory. Yes. Harry Walsh, hello from New York. Hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. And Dave Collins, hi, TekShinji and Andrew. Hello from Idaho. How you doing, man? Idaho, land of the potato? What's the cheese?
Potato.
I can't remember. Idaho.
It's potatoes.
It's potatoes, yes. Dave Collins says, secretive Intel sponsorship. Is that what's going on, Andrew? Sponsorship.
Is it going to be the? Is it going to be an Intel sponsored $5,000 build on the TekShinji channel?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. I don't think we even made that much in total for the whole life of the channel yet.
If I'm being honest, man, I'd much rather an AMD sponsored build.
Oh, that would be nice. But then you'd have to
have. Then they might kind of pressure you to use an AMD GPU.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. They're going to pressure you to use a 6900 or something. Golden Wolf says, Jay said Intel gave him more trouble than AMD in one of his last 2 to 3 episodes. That is one man I haven't watched in a bit. Is Jay's 2 cents still good? I know he was kind of going off the rails or complaining about how people were complaining about him.
I've been watching a few of his videos lately. He actually got a couple 3D printers. And while he's, pretty much an amateur when it comes to that sort of thing,
yes.
I think it's good because when you go on YouTube and look up 3D printers, you either get like an amateur and then they provide zero useful information, or you get someone that's very familiar with 3D printers and might not be talking to the novice. So he's kind of speaking the level of a beginner if you're actually considering getting into 3D printing, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I did 3D printing for years, and I'm glad I don't do it anymore, to be honest, but it was a lot of fun. All right, so let's just go on to another thing from me, I guess. So we got the Threadripper update from Andrew. So for those of you who've been keeping up, the house is now mine. I have the keys. I'm not going to show them on camera because I know you people. You're going to take a screenshot of the keys, then cut your own key, then sneak in and poke me while I'm sleeping or something. I know you're out there. So, yeah, I got the keys to the house. The house is Andrew's like, what? The house is officially mine. I did sign on the dotted line, and now it's time to go buy a truck. Just joking. They said after about a week I could kind of do whatever I want with my finances as long as I pay the mortgage every month.
Nice.
So with buying a new house, there's some time pressures to get certain things done within a certain amount of time to make things work smoothly. So I hired a cleaning service to come to my house and clean it. Well,
good. That was a good move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it'll be like a nice fresh set where you don't have to, it's a lot of work actually to wipe down all the walls, vacuum everything. It's several hours of work, especially a house that's like, 2,200 square feet in total on the inside alone. So I hired.
And if you don't, do that before you move your stuff in, it's never getting done thoroughly.
Exactly, because you're gonna have a bunch of crap in the way, right? So I hired the maid service, and they were not cheap. They quoted me between $700 to $900. And I said,
Yep.
all right, it's a lot of money, but they'll be done in 4 hours, and then I can start moving it immediately, which is great. Well, so they give me a text from their system that they're going to be at my house in 30 minutes. About 2 hours later, I get a call from them saying, oh, we won't be able to perform services at your house. I'm like, why? And she's like, oh, the heat is off and there's no running water. I'm like, weird. Okay, I'll check that. But there was running water there like the day before. So I actually called my realtor, and my realtor went by and checked. She's like, yep, confirmed, running water. Even sent me a video of the water running. And yeah, the heat was on. It was just low because no one's in the house right now. It's at like 55 or 60 degrees, basically above freezing. Basically to keep the pipes from freezing. So I told this to the maid service, and I just doxed the company. I told this to the cleaning service, and then they responded with, it was too cold in there for our maids to do the work. So then I responded, okay, that's fine. Is there a minimum temperature requirement to perform work on a house? Because that was not stated anywhere in the contract. Then they kind of ghosted me for several hours, and they got back to me. The supervisor said it was like working outside. Okay, so it's just too cold. All right. So I said, all right, so the water's running, and I'll make sure the heat's on at 70 degrees for the next visit. Then she gets back to me. We actually, we're refunding your deposit. We won't be able to do services at your house at all. I go, well, why? What changed all of a sudden? Your house is not in the condition that it's beyond their scope of our capabilities. So then it hit me. You guys just effing made up a lie to not work on my house. I mean, be that it's not in the great best of shape, but the water was running and all that other stuff. So I kind of told them this in so many words, and they just responded back saying thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, that's what's happened. So now I am working like a madman. I'm there like every day, just cleaning everything, vacuuming everything. I actually went and bought a really nice rigid vacuum, 6 horsepower, peak horsepower, and all that good stuff. Let me catch up on chat real quick, because that was like a 5-minute story. CPPC Tech says, Jay seems to be behind the curve a lot lately. Well, when you get that big, you don't really have to be, because you'll have an audience no matter what. I mean,
he does what he wants to do. Yeah, he doesn't really cater to his audience too much.
Exactly. And I kind of like that, and I also don't like it.
Yeah.
There's a balance, though. There's a balance. New England Crypto says, woohoo, congrats, Shinji. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a lot of hard work. It was 3 months of a lot of work to get to this point. CPPC Tech, extremely accurate about the 3D printer. I spent a lot of money. Yes, so CPPC Tech basically agrees with you, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to actually take over chat and read the rest of the comments?
Yeah, CPPC Tech, why don't you let us know which printer you were using? It says you have spent money on a nice one and you're done because people are really bad about explaining things. Yeah, what printer did you have? I'm curious.
Don't tell me you bought an Ultimaker.
Yeah.
I hope not. I really hope not.
I don't know. I mean, he says he spent money on a nice one. That's a huge range of what that could mean.
You could get a nice one for $1,000. You just got to build it yourself.
Right. Golden Wolf says, how are you doing better? Oh, relating to the dog, which was the topic 2 weeks ago.
I mean, hold on. Let me... Yeah, I'll get into that in a moment. I got to look up a rule.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We got Soul7 saying hello. How you doing, Soul7? We got Stylax saying unbelievable, which is, I assume, talking about the cleaning service. Soul7 says, please hit that like button. Thank you. Thank you, Soul7. CPPC Tech, they wanted a way out. Yeah, wow, bummer, says New England Crypto. Simple Green for the win. Yeah, I'm a fan of Simple Green.
Yeah, actually, so I was texting with New England Crypto earlier today. I didn't know what Simple Green was till he told me about it. And I was like, I want some of that.
Get the gallon. Get the gallon.
I'm going to get like several gallons.
No, you only need one because it's like you can dilute it 1 to 64, I think.
1 to 64?
I could be exaggerating, but
no.
it's a good...
I could probably drink that and I wouldn't even taste it.
It's a strong dilution ratio.
You mean a weak dilution ratio?
No, I mean it's good that you can dilute it so heavily.
Okay, all right. I would say it's like maybe 1/8 of that, but okay. Yeah. So
well, you can do it in varying degrees.
I just
on...
read some of the YouTube rules on what I can show on camera. It says as long as it's within context, it's fine. So if those of you that are squeamish or whatever, you could look away at this moment, and then nobody looks away because they want to see. So it's actually not that bad. So here's my arm, the one that the dog latched onto. All the bruising is basically gone. This is all blue and purple right here. And then up here is where the puncture was. It doesn't look that bad. You can kind of see the scarring right there.
Yeah.
This doesn't look that bad, but this hole actually went all the way down to the muscle. It was about 3/8 of an inch deep. And it's healing up nicely. They told me to keep it uncovered. It's just a scab. And there's other parts over here that I can't really show. That dog basically bit my armpit area, like right here, and then my back. The dog is no longer on the property, it seems. Looks like the owner took it away somewhere. Which, I mean, I won't lie. I was at the property, my new house today, and I saw a stray dog on the street, and I was like, I'm gonna stay inside for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little shell-shocked from that, but I'm doing much better. It hurt for several days because it felt like it's as if like I got Mike Tyson'd in the arm a couple of times. It hurt. It was painful, but I'm doing much better. Let's see. So that's what happened with the cleaning service for my house. And I was just like, man, Andrew, I want a business to where I could just be like, F you. I don't need your money. Get out of here.
Dude, any business can do that.
Yeah, and be financially viable. Yeah. Like make so much money and have so many appointments in business to where you could just be like, this house looks hard. We're not going to do it.
So what's your plan for getting it cleaned up?
I'm doing it manually myself. It is.
Yeah,
I worked for probably 2 hours today and I got one room done.
Well, the advantage of that is you'll, be hands-on with pretty much every part of the house and get a feel for what needs to be done better. If you got window trim that's peeling, you'll see it and all that kind of stuff. If there's grout around the tub, you'll notice all that stuff now.
I wish I had grout in the tub. That means I'd have nice tiles.
But even caulking.
Yes. I'm actually not doing anything like that. I'm literally just cleaning. So imagine the house sat for 20 years and only a fraction of the house was used for that time. That's what it basically looks like. So I'm basically vacuuming everything, all surfaces, all the walls, all the ceilings, lights. Every room has a fan because back in those days, they didn't have air conditioning. So that's kind of annoying because I hate ceiling fans. I replaced all the light bulbs to LEDs, things like that. All right, so I talked a lot about that stuff. Let's read chat real quick, and then I'll talk about one thing, then we'll get into our topics for the night. Don't want to go on too long.
When Crypto is saying 1-to-1 on the simple green.
Oh,
okay.
Wow, that's strong. Yeah, for dirty
stuff. You can
run
it, you can use it undiluted as well. It's not strictly a concentrate, but you can dilute it. They say it's a concentrate, but you can use it at full strength as well.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, about 2 weeks ago, I actually got attacked by a German Shepherd at my house, my current house. He came up and bit me a few times and chewed on me, and it was quite horrifying. You see this dog jump up on you. I've already talked to the owner. Everything's been settled. He took me to the, urgent care and got it taken care of. But I'm okay now. That's what matters. DJ Mines in chat. How you doing, DJ Mines? Man, have you seen the stuff he's been doing lately? Some crazy stuff. He's been up to a lot of cool things. If you guys don't know, DJ Mines is a cool person. He has a YouTube channel as well. Go check it out.
Might be worthy getting him on the stream sometime.
Yeah, actually, DJ Mines, let me know if you want to be a guest on the stream. We might not be worthy of your presence, but I would
yeah.
I would appreciate it if you wanted to. You don't have to answer here. I don't want it to seem awkward. He'd be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, please. Let us know, gently.
Gently. DNA Tech says, wipe some mud on it and suck it up. Yes, actually, that's basically what I did. So after the dog bit me a few times and the owner got it off me, I actually because I was in shock and pain because it hurt. Imagine a jaw clamping down on you, right? I was just kind of sitting on my steps and trying to keep the blood off and all that. It wasn't fun. I'll go into one last thing, then we'll go into our topics for the tonight. Quick update on solar. So I am looking into getting solar done on the house, and those of you that have been following the channel will know that I'm going through Tesla solar, and I'm not getting any solar. I'm getting this new Tesla solar tiles. Quick update. Everything's going well, surprisingly. I actually have a site visit scheduled 2 weeks from now, and after that, the ball really gets going. So, I mean, depending on the pricing and what the site visit comes back with, I might have a roof on it before the end of the year, making me some of that free electron from the sun, That'd
be awesome.
Yeah, so we'll catch up on chat real quick, then we'll move on to our topics, because we've already been on life stuff for 20 minutes. New England Green says, new plan equals simple green. Yes, I'm actually going to be going to buy that tomorrow.
Green's great, man. I've used it to clean boats, cars, household stuff.
Can I use it to clean people?
You can use it to clean anything, man. I think it's natural. I don't think there's any harsh chemicals in it. So.
Multi-surface, including skin.
Yeah. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's anything worrying. It's not bleach or anything.
Okay. DJ Mind says, I'm down anytime, dude. Just let me know and I'll be there. Oh, that's so sweet. He's going to grace us with his presence one day. So yeah, we'll have him on as a guest one day on the Tek Torrent podcast. Well, I'll DM you later. We'll get that sorted out. So yeah, guys, that is what's going on with me and Andrew this week. Let's go into our topics for the night. Andrew, do you want to start us off?
So yeah, we'll talk about EK first.
Yeah.
This topic's a little old because we didn't have much to say last week. We didn't end up having a stream, but this was a topic that I picked. This is a topic that I picked for last week. So EK Water Blocks lays off 25% of their workforce, blaming lower water cooling sales. So I'm reading this from Tech Power Up, and it says they've downsized a quarter of its staff in response to a sharp drop in sales. This affects over 60 of the 200 plus tech jobs in Slovenia, the home country of EK Water Blocks. And yeah, I mean, we all know EK is probably the most well-known water cooling brand. At least for me, I think it's the most well-known water cooling brand, unless you're dealing with a Corsair, which is, they make water cooling, but other things as well.
Exactly.
But they said they noticed quarterly sales drop in steps as big as 20% since October 2021. So, quarter over quarter, that's a huge drop. And
25% in 1 quarter? Wow.
No, it says they've noticed quarterly sales drops in steps as big as 20%.
Wow, that's actually a lot. Year over year, that's terrifying. Well, I mean, also they probably shot
unless
up
they
that
somehow
much.
made it up, but
I feel like they're just going back to where they were then.
Well, I mean, maybe people weren't buying water blocks because they didn't have GPUs. Just saying.
That's true.
But it says the company is faulting these sales drops on the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically its economic impact, spike in PC hardware prices, and people spending less on premium/novelty hardware. So yeah, I mean that all kind of makes sense. The reason you would go with something from EK is because you have basically money to burn. You wanted to do something a bit more extreme.
I feel like that was directed toward me, Andrew. I'm
just saying you don't go with boutique water cooling
with hundreds of dollars of all this EK hardware. I'm just like, Oh,
Well, I'm just
I'll
saying,
take that in
you don't
stride.
buy an EK pressure tester if you don't have money to burn.
Oh man! Oh, shots fired!
Hey, man. No, that's actually a pretty great product.
Yes, actually,
And
that's
it's
probably
not
out of
that
all their
expensive
things,
for what it is.
that would probably be a recommended purchase. But no one buys it.
Yeah.
I do have an EK product right here, though.
I mean, I guess. Is that like a $20 Allen key?
It's like $10, $5.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of concerning. You lose 25% of staff. That's a huge amount, no matter how many employees you have. Even if you have 4 employees, 25%'s a huge cut.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're dealing with a company with like 200 plus employees, I think I forget the number exactly, but yeah, it's, you got to wonder if the future of the company is in danger. Especially when we talk about companies like Corsair making significantly cheaper alternatives.
Yeah.
So there's other companies like Bixby, which also is, and like Barrow. They're essentially budget brands, but becoming more and more mainstream and making better and better products.
Yep.
And when you're dealing with water cooling, there is a point of diminishing return. Is a $300 water block worth it when a $150 one
will get the same job
2
done.
degrees Celsius warmer? Yeah, exactly. I've looked at the Corsair GPU blocks, and they all look at least good enough.
Now they put
I know
a
they
third
had some
screw up
issues on
top.
the 20 series. What's that?
Now they fix their leaks with a third screw up top.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, the 20 series had some issues, but the 30 series, they corrected that on the 30 series blocks, and yeah, in my opinion, man, it's tough to say. I mean, you probably feel different than me, but I just don't think. I think EK needs to kind of get more in touch with the changing market in water cooling parts.
They need to make
Because-
they need to make water cooling parts for poor people.
Yeah, and that's sort of what it is. There's so many alternatives, and why should I buy this $300 block?
$375
card.
block nowadays.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you're not buying a top of the line card water block, these blocks are not cheap whatsoever.
No.
I mean, for me, like the CPU blocks, I don't think one block is that much better than another. I want it to be copper, nickel plated, and I want it to perform decently well, but I don't need the best block or, 100th percentile, 98th percentile type of cooling, which EK seems to try and make, but the price is also like 98th percentile.
Well, so it's funny we're talking about EK. I actually met them during the con. Oh yeah, by the way, guys, I also went to PAX East last week, right after I got bit by a dog. So I know some of you said that you were there or whatever, but I could never find you guys. So I actually spoke with Captain America, the CEO of America, Kat, and Jake, the marketing director or whatever. Pretty cool people, and I didn't see any indication of layoffs. So this must just be in Slovenia, because I talked to the whole crew. They were good.
I don't think so.
Was it just Slovenia, or was it everywhere?
Yeah. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to say. It says that their sales are principally split in half between North America and European markets, but it's not exactly saying who they laid off.
Yeah, and getting back to one of your points, Andrew, like we have explained in the water cooling video, actually, I will link that in just a moment. Water cooling explained that the thermal capacity of water is several times that of air. So at certain point, you get the diminishing returns with water cooling is more apparent because the water is so efficient at removing heat from a component than air that it really doesn't make a difference after a certain point. For example, they did a test where the CPU plate was literally just a flat plate with no fins. Then they had one with fins. there was a difference, but not as much as you think, because the water is so damn good at removing heat from a component.
Right.
And think about that for a moment. So this thing with microfins, or whatever you want to call it, that costs a lot of money to machine, by the way, because that's not easy, versus literally a flat piece of copper. The performance delta is like maybe 20%. It's really not that much. And yet it costs
I think it's
significantly more.
I think it's more to the point, like, dude, back in the day, you didn't have microfins. You just had basically holes milled in a block so that you'd have like basically pin uprights. And that was, I really don't think there'd be such a huge difference between that and a modern block that it would make the old one unusable. I don't think it would be unusable. So when you're dealing with custom water cooling, there is a lot of cost involved.
Yep.
But when you're dealing with maybe someone just getting into it, they're going to be weighing different brands and prices and say, well, why should I spend $600 on a loop when I can spend $200 on a loop? You know, there's
and
a lot of
basically
products
the same results.
Yeah, like a $30 CPU block versus a $120 CPU block, probably pretty comparable in terms of performance.
It's mostly aesthetics, honestly.
Yeah. And when it comes down to like super premium stuff, honestly, I'm not a fanboy, but I do honestly really like water cool stuff.
Yeah, water cool stuff is pretty good. We'll actually get into that in a moment. Andrew, do you want to just catch up on chat real quick?
Yeah.
Because this is kind of your topic. We got a lot of stuff since we were talking. Let's
see what we got. All right. Yeah, CPPC Tech says they have garbage quality control. They did this to themselves. I haven't necessarily seen their quality control be a major fault of the company, but take your word for it.
So there actually was the pandemic started in February of 2020, right? So around April, there's a quality control issue because they didn't have enough people. Then between April and like July, they were having problems, but they fixed all of it by now.
Yeah, he says they pumped out a bunch of garbage defective custom water blocks and reservoirs.
Yeah, they were trying to make as much as possible. They were letting defects go by to get the product out there, and they realized that was a mistake.
They have good products when they work, and they are checked out. I've ordered stuff that didn't even have the quality control sticker. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've heard of issues with certain EK products. Usually it's like a certain model has a problem. Let me see. CPC Tech says, I have the Corsair 3080 FE block and it's flawless. Yeah, that's basically the block I was looking at. I was looking at the 3090 FE block, which is just a bigger version of the same thing. And yeah, I mean, I think that's a single slot block, and it comes with a single slot bracket, which coming from, on the case of the 3090, a 3-slot bracket, it really makes that a compact card, which is awesome. The EK block for that card is so heavy that I probably wouldn't have used it once I realized that. But I think the Corsair one is more compact, it's lighter, and again, what we're saying
is it's also cheaper.
Much cheaper. I think it's $169 for the 3090 FE block. Yeah, half the price. And what I'm saying is diminishing return for that extra $150 or whatever it ends up being. You might be saving like maybe 2 to 5 degrees Celsius.
I would say it's within the margin of error. I'd even go that far.
You think so? Yeah. I think that's something we should test sometime.
Wow. There goes all of our earnings for the year. But yes.
Well, don't you have a water block? No, you don't have anything.
We got something we're going to show eventually. I can't.
All right.
I could talk about it actually. As of April 1st, the NDA lifted. So.
Yeah. Let me see. EK water block plus active backplate on your 3090. So CPPC Tech also has the EK water block plus active backplate apparently. Mm-hmm. Chris Stewart says, is it not me or isn't water cool just way overrated? Noted you have a proper case in airflow. I think you mean water cooling, not water cool the company. Just clarifying that. Honestly, water cooling isn't necessarily about performance. It might be performance per noise level.
That's what it's
it
mostly
might be
about.
an aesthetic choice. Yeah, I mean, some people just like to do custom stuff. And once you've put together however many computers, water cooling custom loop is kind of the next step in making something unique in your own that no one else can have exactly the same. So, but yeah, like Shinji said, noise level is a big factor when it comes to water cooling because, you know, you can have as much radiator as you want, and therefore you can run your fans very slow if you have quite a bit of radiator taking all that heat. In my opinion, I would either want a very quiet CPU cooler or custom water cooling because I like the noise level to be pretty consistent. So I don't want a stock fan when you open up a program and the temperature spikes. The fan speed goes from 800 RPM to 2000 RPM, and it's doing
and
that
then
back
back
and
down
forth.
again.
Yeah, that's what gets me. So I'd rather get like a Noctua cooler, maybe something with like a 1500 RPM fan that's pretty quiet, and I'd just run it at full speed all the time, which it's way better than the stock cooler in every way at that point. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about water cooling. It's just something either you want to do it or you don't. It's not necessarily, we're trying to sell you on the performance of it. That's not necessarily the main selling point. Yeah, just finishing up. Let's see. Oh, you had linked to the video. Awesome. CPPC Tech says all his rigs are water cooled. John Germain says, hey, hello, what's up, man? CPPC Tech says, if you upgraded the thermal pads to Gelid Extreme, it makes the temps even better. Yeah, that and an extremely efficient block, the Corsair. After owning both EK water block and Corsair, I know what I'll do next time too. Yeah.
I mean,
Martin,
it's a lot of money,
go
man.
ahead.
You're basically you could spend $150 on a lot of stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of performance are you getting for $150? In some cases, that's enough to upgrade you to the next card up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you were looking at a 3080 plus a $300 water block, why not get a 3080 Ti and get it and leave it air cooled?
Exactly.
Stuff like that. You gotta, or even that $150 takes you up to the next level CPU.
Or you could add another stick of RAM.
Like you said, plenty of things that you could do. That's like a 2 terabyte SSD now.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, like a non-high-end NVMe, just a regular NVMe.
Yeah. Martin R says, I'm in the process of using copper shims with the EK water block. I'll post my results later. Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah, let us know in the chat and in the Discord.
Yeah, we've definitely been curious about the copper shims, and that's kind of been a topic that's getting some traction lately, especially for me. I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
I think it's what's that?
I got a spoiler alert.
Yeah, it's not amazing.
It's not as amazing as people think. It's not. So the shims cost a lot of money, like relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to go into a rant, but I'll just say the results that people are getting that they think are good are not directly related to the shims. I'll just say that much.
Honestly, for me, I've done fairly extensive thermal pad testing.
Oh, did you know? Did you?
Yeah.
Wait, didn't you make a video or something? Let me go look that up while you talk about it.
There is a video on the topic. But yeah, like when you start getting into the good, the best thermal pads, they're definitely they're good enough. You don't need memory temperatures to be cooler than the core. You just don't really. So even if copper shims took it down, I don't think it's worth the time and the the risk of having metal on the card necessarily, unless you have a perfectly flat heat sink, and sometimes there's tolerances there, one might slip, and also the extra mess because you're still using thermal compound to bridge the memory to the shim and the shim to the heatsink. So it gets messy.
Yeah, and especially if it's water cooled. Like I said, in that water cooling video that I posted earlier, water has several times more heat efficiency. So you get diminishing returns really fast.
Right.
Let me just read something from chat real quick, then we'll move on to the next subject. CPPC Tech said that your wife was there and then she's recovering from the mild water. So yeah, there was actually a lot of trace cases from PAX. I do not have it. And it was crazy because I've talked to... So PAX has very good record keeping when it comes to us, the workers. And we all voluntarily decided to submit our information on where we were and where we spent our time, because we're a community and we care about each other. And all the people that tested positive, we got a pretty comprehensive contact tracing map because of that. And even though I was like in the heat, literally face to face with people that had it, I don't have it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was vaccinated or I was masking good, whatever. You guys probably saw my shorts when I was there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, was everyone masked up?
Yeah, so I noticed the PAX stuff doesn't really do well on our channel, so I don't really talk about it. But essentially, yeah, it was a fully vaxxed, fully masked show. No medical, nothing. It didn't even matter if there was no exemption at all. In fact, I actually had to remove a few people that decided to try to make a statement. Even though they bought the ticket, they've agreed to the rules, they went through checking, and they agreed to it a third time before they entered the hall, they decided to pull a stunt and, be like that. And luckily, it didn't turn into any escalations. But yeah, everyone was masked, everyone was fully vaccinated. You had to be there.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff about water cooling, and I like that, guys. All these comments are really good. Andrew, can you continue with the comments and stuff? I need to take care of something.
Yeah, all right. So CPBC Tech says, I love copper shims. I copper shim modded my 3070 MSI GP 66. Is that the Stealth? Yeah, I've used copper shims on laptops. I guess the advantage there was some extra thermal mass. I've actually modified some laptops with those copper heat sinks just for a little extra cooling, because I've had laptops that are, high performance laptops with high performance CPUs and a high performance dedicated GPU. But when you run them both together, they end up throttling. When you run one alone or one or the other, it's totally fine. But when you put them together, especially when they share some type of cooling, like a heat pipe across the CPU and GPU, then those laptops tend to overheat. So yeah, I've done some cooling mods on laptops, but I haven't in a while. But yeah, copper shims have their place. I just personally don't think they are necessary to replace the thermal pads we have. I think the biggest thing is knowing not only what brand or what type of thermal pad, know what you're buying, but you need to make sure the thickness is correct, because if you have poor contact, then it's not doing its job.
And I'd say that is like more than 50% of the reason why it's not working for most people is the poor contact. Because
the cooler has enough capability to cool the core and the memory in 99% of cases.
Yes. Sorry about the leaving. There was a spider on my piece of furniture over there, and I had to do something about it, but it since disappeared. So.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna crawl up my nose while I'm
the thermal pad video has been linked in chat, just so everyone knows. CPPC Tech says that thermal pad video is the best. I hope you mean it's the best thermal pad video, in which I would probably agree.
I think we're the only ones actually that have that type of comprehensive data in a video. I haven't seen anything like
not
that
too many
yet.
people. I don't even know if I've seen anyone compare like 2 or 3 different pads, but
It's everyone just like maybe does 2 or 3, but no one does the scientific back end. Everyone just does it and then like, oh, look at the results I got without any scientific process, which is
yeah.
a lot of work, to be very clear. That I mean, how long did you spend on that? 3 weeks?
It took a long time,
Yeah,
man.
I would say
know
a
I
whole
kept
month.
pushing it, being like, "Oh, I need another half a week," and that ended up being a week.
I remember we thought it was going to take like a week, but then it turned out taking like from when we got all the parts to when we finished the video, it was like a month. And like, thank God, Andrew, like you powered through it. Like I would have like been so angry.
Dude, I saw the value in that type of video, you know. I think it's proven itself at this point, but you know, there were so many people out there that basically felt the same way we did, that people were just saying, "Oh yeah, buy this brand," but there was no real information to support that.
Yeah, and so if you guys don't know, but there's ratings for tires on cars. So did you know that some numbers on those ratings are actually internal to the company that produces them? They're not a comparison across tires from different manufacturers. Just like that, these thermal pads are gauged exactly the same damn way. So there's no standard on measuring them. That's why part of the reason why we did that video is that we compared them against each other. And a lot of people have seen that video and drawn conclusions that were not exactly accurate, because there's the video's long, okay? It is. But it's long because it's very important in science to show how we did the process. Otherwise, we can just make it up. Really, like, so if you watch the video, you could just go to the results and find out for yourself. But spoiler alert, we don't tell you what is the best. Why? Because it depends on your situation. Good reason to watch it if you haven't, though.
So why don't we just finish up in chat, move along, because time is flying tonight.
Oh my God, we're already almost an hour into it. Damn it.
Yeah. So Soul7 says, "Aren't those chairs like $300?"
$450.
I think that was because you got up. $450. There you go.
The one you're sitting in is about $380.
Yeah, this is a nice one as well. It's the
So what Andrew has there is the 2020 edition Secret Labs cloth chair. We are not sponsored by them at all. These were paid for my own money. Dude, that would be okay. I wouldn't say that would be nice, but that would be very convenient. Because really, a chair doesn't do anything like for our channel. Like, no one cares. No one gives a crap about a chair unboxing. You know what I mean? Like.
Yep. Yeah. Well, you would know.
Oh wow.
All right. Let's. I think we're pretty much caught up.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't get to necessarily everything here, and read everyone's chat for what it is. But if you do want us to read it out loud, just tag TekShinji and we'll see it.
Yeah. All right. Moving along to our next topic for the night. Let me timestamp real quick. So we are at 53 minutes. Oh man, I'm just going to have to skip one of them. I'm just gonna do the 900 watt GPU and skip the Phoenix, Andrew. Actually, no, wait, we can't skip it. We got to do the topics to make things for later. I'll just be quick. All right, so for those of you that don't know, AMD, as in the Advanced Micro Devices company that you all know and love, has been working on something called the Phoenix APU. What is the Phoenix APU? Well, from the crap that they made earlier in the year, it rises from the ashes like a phoenix. No, I'm joking. It's actually pretty decent. So based on rumors, the upcoming Zen 4 microarchitecture will include the said Phoenix APU, which has performance similar to that of current gen low-end discrete GPUs. So let me put this in a nutshell for you. Your CPU, some CPUs have something called the iGPU already built in. Lately, they've been getting better, but they haven't really been that great. This time around, that iGPU can rival the performance of a power, efficiency, and all that of a 6500 XT.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's
are we talking about laptop APUs?
this is the later one. The laptop one's a little bit worse than that. I'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so the laptop APU is technically already out. There's a lot of testing on it. You can go check it out. I'll get to that at the end. I'm talking about the new stuff that'll be coming out later.
Okay.
And it's even said to be better than a 1050 Ti. So, as you know, there's the 6400 POS GPU, the point of sale, obviously, GPU. So think about that, guys. These will come out and it will decimate the low-end GPU market. Decimate it. Because you don't need one anymore. Now, Andrew is very correct. We actually already have these in the laptops. And they're really good. I think it's like the 640M or something. I forget what they're called. But they're actually really good. And so basically those are like the precursor to these. And these will be in the...
So are we talking about a dedicated GPU for laptops? Or are we talking about an APU where it's all on one
APU
silicon?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I don't think we have that on existing laptops.
So the existing laptops, I don't actually know too much about that because I only looked into this section. But from the testing I read, that it's pretty decent. The newer ones that are coming out with AM5, the new socket, that's what I'm talking about. That's the exciting stuff.
Yeah, honestly, like 1050 Ti might sound like old news, but that plays most games even today.
Yeah.
So if you can get that without a dedicated GPU, it's the first time we've seen that kind of performance, obviously. AMD's APUs have been kind of lackluster for the GPU performance, and Intel, but Intel also kind of not great for gaming. So I'm hoping this becomes a trend where we don't necessarily need dedicated GPUs to run games on low 720p, even just to get you into gaming without a dedicated GPU, because they're not always available, believe it or not.
Yep. And the final rumor I want to just share with you guys is it is said that the best of the best version of that APU that will be coming out when, I don't know, but sometime soon, in next year maybe. The rumor is that it is comparable to a 1060 on a chip.
That's pretty great.
That's freaking amazing.
The thing I wonder is how they're going to handle video memory and how that's going to be shared. Presumably, these will all be DDR5, so you'll have high-speed memory. But I'm wondering if you'll be able to share like 8 gigs and have essentially 8 gigs of available VRAM, or if you're going to run into frame buffer issues.
Yeah, so they haven't, it's all rumor, and of course AMD is keeping their mouth shut. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that update to you guys that pretty soon the new AM5 architecture chips might have some pretty nice APUs to the point where we don't need low-end dedicated GPUs anymore. Well, of course they're going to make more trash in the future, but, waste of sand.
I think, well, see, here's what I think. I think they've used the custom silicon in the Xbox Series and the PlayStation 5 as kind of a trial. Like, why not take these custom APUs that are actually good for gaming and make it into a desktop product?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that be a great selling product? It's the best of both worlds. You can, make a lineup with CPU power, GPU power, or a combination of both.
Exactly. And it's gonna really be disruptive in the low end market, because it's like, no, dude, don't buy a 1050 Ti for another $100. Just go buy an APU. Right. All right, yeah. So that's all I had for that. Andrew, do you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah. So what we're going to be talking about here is some new products that are coming to market, and what they are. If you guys don't know, Intel, their new LGA 1700, is it still new? I don't know. The 12th generation of Intel CPUs.
Current gen?
Yeah, the current gen Intel 12th gen CPUs. They've had some issues. You've probably heard about it if you follow any tech forums. People are talking about it. I don't know if I've seen a video about it on YouTube specifically from, the major tech YouTubers. But the issue is that some of these CPUs are bending. And how does a CPU bend, you might ask? So the retention mechanism that Intel uses is a latch that applies pressure down on the CPU so that it has a certain amount of pressure on the pins on the motherboard, the LGA grid.
Mm-hmm.
And with the new 12th gen CPUs, the CPUs themselves are physically larger than previous ones. However,
it was longer.
Essentially, yeah,
longer.
they're a rectangle when previous ones were pretty much square.
Yep.
The pressure points on these CPUs, where the retention mechanism contacts the CPU, there's 2 points one on either side of the CPU's integrated heat spreader, and those are basically the points of contact. So what people are finding is these points where the pressure is applied is causing the CPU to bend downward in the center and essentially create a low spot. And problems that can arise from this might be higher core temperatures because you're getting poor contact with the center part of the CPU, which for Intel tends to be the die. And you might actually run into issues where you're getting poor contact with pins and therefore having issues with PCI Express devices, memory channels not fully being either stable or even functional. You might boot in with less RAM because that particular slot isn't actually making any contact with the CPU. You might have other issues like no boot, but most of the issues like that are not really as prevalent as the temperature issue. So the point I'm making here is there is this issue. People have declared that a fix could be removing that mechanism, putting some washers, I believe 1 or 2 millimeter washers, putting it back on, and that just makes the pressure that much less that it's not putting so much pressure that it literally bends the CPU.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Intel has said,
don't do it.
It's working. It's working as intended. Don't worry about it.
It was designed this way.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. Are they gonna give you a new CPU when you send in a bent one? I want reassurance that if there is a physical problem with this, that they're not going to say, oh, well, we're not going to warranty that. It must have been the motherboard company out of spec. And I don't want to end up dealing with some back and forth 2 years down the road when I'm still in warranty, but have essentially a dead CPU because it doesn't even fit in the socket anymore.
I feel like it might be
a couple.
it might be something they just kind of like brush under the carpet. Since, I mean, think about it.
Yeah,
only high end.
I would have thought there'd be like a silent fix going forward that they don't announce and they don't recall anything. They just fix it, mid-production.
They fix it
whether that
before without telling
because
anyone.
they designed the socket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they can't really blame anyone else. But the company Thermalright, which you might know for their heat sinks and CPU coolers, GPU coolers, various cooling products, has a solution. So reading from an Extreme Tech article, Thermalright is the company offering the cool-looking BCF, which is the name of the product. It's made from CNC machined aluminum and comes in red or silver. From what we can tell, it replaces the entire retention mechanism on an LGA 1700 motherboard. With it removed, you just drop this down on the socket and screw it into place. So what it does is it replaces Intel's retention mechanism, which is like a two-piece system with a latch, and that mechanism is screwed in with 4 screws. You remove that and you screw in this plate, which covers the IHS and makes contact essentially on the entire IHS for distributing even pressure across the CPU rather than those 2 high pressure points where it tends to bend.
So there's no more lever?
No more lever. This screws on in place of the entire retention mechanism.
Wow, it's going to be a pain in the butt to change the CPU. I guess if you're doing something that high end, you won't be changing it often.
Well, 4 screws isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, CPU coolers use 4 screws. I think it's still, unless you're changing CPUs all the time. But so this product is not yet available at any major retailer. It was available at one of the Chinese retailers. I forget the what is it? Taobao, which is, you know,
Not recommended.
I guess it's available. But yeah, it's not yet mainstream. But since reading about that, that's the first thing like it that I've seen, and it's awesome that someone stepped in to make such a product. However, reading from a Tom's Hardware article, extreme overclocker and YouTuber Der Bauer has revealed his 12th gen CPU contact frame, which is being manufactured by Thermal Grizzly. In addition to the precise machined anodized aluminum frame, which evenly distributes pressure on your Intel Alder Lake CPU, the OC expert demoed a new lapping frame. This secondary frame can be used if you wish to ensure the CPU is perfectly flat when installed in the LGA 1700 sized contact frame on your motherboard. So yeah, Thermal Grizzly and / Der Bauer have basically the identical product also being made. So
it's also from Der Bauer, so you know it's gotta be good.
Yeah, and it's got the Thermal Grizzly logo.
Yeah, and okay. That just made me not want to buy it, but all right, that's cool.
Oh, honestly, I'm a big fan of Thermalright. I've never really seen a Thermalright product that wasn't premium or just like well thought out and well engineered, like a quality product. Thermal Grizzly, I don't know, man. I thought you were a big fan of them for a while.
Yes, I am. I got confused with the different brand name, Thermaltake.
Oh, okay. Oh, Thermaltake.
Yeah, and for some reason in my mind,
Grizzly.
Thermaltake orange registered. I was like, oh, I really don't want that anymore. But I know it's Thermal Grizzly.
No.
Now.
We're not talking.
Yeah.
We're not talking about 80 millimeter fans from 2002. But that's the last time Thermaltake was making a decent product.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah. So they're basically comparable products. There's 2 different brands now making a product for this problem, which Intel still says really isn't a problem, which, you know, makes you kind of a little hesitant to invest in an Intel product when they don't admit when they're wrong. But yeah, so these 2 things are probably going to be hitting retailers that we're familiar with in North America in the next month. So that's good news for a lot of people that don't necessarily feel comfortable pulling up their retention mechanism, putting washers down, not really sure if there would be any conflicts with surface mount components, capacitors, things like that.
Yeah.
But these new frames seem to basically take the footprint of the retention mechanism and, like it says, evenly distribute pressure on the CPU's IHS. In the case of the Thermal Grizzly one, there is supposedly you're supposed to tighten it to 0.002 Newton meters of torque or something like that.
Because everyone has that.
But what they say is to tighten it with the included Allen key as tight as you can with 2 fingers and then a quarter turn. So
Wow, that's so subjective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess 2 fingers, you can only get it so tight before your fingers
You know
start
how
slipping.
much I can torque with 2 fingers?
Is it 0.002 Newton
Oh,
meters?
exactly. Yeah, my fingers are calibrated.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a machinist, remember?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing they stress is you don't want to over tighten it. So, you know, I guess it doesn't actually need to be that tight. So pretty much finger tight and then a quarter turn is where you want to be. But you would suspect that might lead to some issues if people are like, you know, maybe not reading the directions, being like, oh, I don't need to use this included Allen key. I have an iFixit kit. Let me just crank down on this.
Just a little bit.
You know what I mean? But anyway, that's all I got for that. Let's see if anyone's talking about that in chat. But
Also, guys, if you are watching, please hit that like button. It really does help the algorithm. Yeah, you wanna? I'll catch up on chat real quick for you.
all right.
That was your last topic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So chat. Someone said something really funny earlier. I'll get to that in a moment. AMD really achieved some incredible wizardry in the past 5 years. It's mind-blowing, says Cedric. Yes, it is definitely mind-blowing. Let me actually make a timestamp real quick, because it was yep. All right, going back. CPPC Tek says, don't some of the coolers and blocks not make full contact also on 12th gen or not give full coverage? I haven't heard about that. Maybe it's, it's very possible.
I don't think. Yeah, well, I don't think that's less. I think that's less of an issue because with Intel the dies are traditionally central, while with like when we were dealing with Threadripper, how you could adapt like an AIO, a standard AIO to Threadripper, and it wouldn't cover the corners, but it would cover the center. It wasn't great because Threadripper and Ryzen typically use their AMD's chiplet design, which spaces out everything to basically the corners of the CPU. But with Intel, I don't think it's as much of an issue. The issue with coolers and blocks not making full contact, it's not full coverage, it is full contact, because by bending in the center, you're creating a big low spot at the hot point. So you do have that issue, yeah.
Yep. So we're not going to give a whole response to every chat because then we won't be able to finish tonight. But we'll just say a sentence or two because we love the chat. John Germain says there once was a man from Kent whose CPU was so long that it bent.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, CPPC Tek says, yeah, the mounting surface I've seen firsthand not cover the CPU properly. Also, certain coolers, separate issue.
Yep. Well, some coolers are made concave or convex.
Yeah, to make up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would sooner lap my cooler than my CPU, though.
Yes, I would probably never lap my CPU ever again.
Yeah, you had some experience with that.
No, thank you. Cedric says, well, if you listen to Intel, AMD isn't a problem. Yeah, that's how they do it, right? CPPC Tek, I think this is in response to the inch pounds thing. Let me use my strong hand. John Germain says 50 inch pounds. 50 inch pounds! That's a lot. I don't know how many Newton meters that translates to. That's a lot. Cedric says, talking about Threadripper, do you think AMD will continue this lineup of CPU? I heard somewhere in the deep tech space that it's dead. Well, obviously Andrew is switching off of Threadripper, so it's definitely dead. I mean, that's the sole factor we use.
There is no talk of quote-unquote desktop Threadripper anymore. There hasn't been any announcement that it's going to be continued. We're looking at Threadripper Pro, which will trickle down to enthusiast-grade hardware. But the high-end desktop Threadripper that we know is so far not being continued.
Nope.
We haven't heard.
What was that anyway? Zen 2 Plus?
It was Zen 2 Plus, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not even Zen 3. Sad.
Well, it was the correct thing at the time, but they just didn't release Zen 3 CPUs for it for some reason.
Yeah. CPPC Tek says, I'm glad you got the movie reference. Yes. Andrew, do you know the movie reference?
No.
Let me use my strong hand. It's from Scary Movie, whereas the butler, he was kind of differently formed. One of his hands was like really.
Oh, was that the guy from Schitt's Creek?
I think so, and you can't say that word,
wrong.
sir.
I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, well, spell it out.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. I guess maybe
we won't go there
because it's a title.
We won't go there.
Anyways, he had a hand like this, and like when people were hanging off or something, he's trying to like help them. He's like, "I'll use my strong hand."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just actually, you were saying was that Zen 2 Plus. It was Zen 2. There is no Zen 2 Plus.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zen 2. All right. Andrew, do you have anything else about that?
No, what do you got to wrap up this stream?
I got something hot to wrap up this stream. Okay, so guys, as we all know, there's some new GPUs coming out. And with new GPUs, we have rumors that are definitely, I hope to God, are not true. NVIDIA says, rumors, whatever you want to call it, a 900-watt GPU. The next generation, and they've lost to their minds. So, as you guys know, as we've discussed and talked about GPU architecture and cooling infrastructure, a 3-slot card kind of tops out at around 400 watts. A 4-slot card tops out at around 500 watts, so to speak. All right? So, a 900-watt GPU cannot have a physically enough space to dissipate that amount. It would have to be like a 6-slot GPU. So how they're going to fix this, I don't know. But allegedly, according to rumors, this GPU will take more power than most computers at 900 watts. It's going to be powered by the AD102, NVIDIA's top-tier die. And it's going to have twin 16-pin connectors, as we all know. Those nice 16-pin is actually 12, but we won't get into that. And it's rumored to have 48 gigabytes of 24 gigabytes per second GDDR6 memory, which is pretty nice, which is also the same type of memory that is currently on the new 3090 Ti, except it'll double the memory. Now, 48 gigabytes of memory, I think that's like in the territory where a gamer would never need it. So yeah. I think this will probably be on their more like a Titan, so to speak.
Workstation.
Yeah, like a workstation GPU. And that would make sense because in a workstation, it'd probably be liquid cooled or have some sort of like hyper cooling of some kind. In other words,
or in a chassis with like blower fans.
Yeah, some Delta fans maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is hot. So I don't think it's necessarily true in the sense that it's something we're gonna get. Probably be a $10,000 card or something because NVIDIA's like, oh, we like money. And they've been jacking up their prices like crazy. Yeah, so that
10,000, that might be conservative.
Huh?
I said 10,000. That might be a little conservative.
Yeah, probably. Okay, actually, it'd probably be like $30,000. No joke. Probably.
Yeah, like that's probably something that's actually going to be amazing for certain workloads like AI stuff, simulations, and the 48 gigs. Those tasks require big data sets, so you need more than 24 gigs of memory sometimes. That's really what any card with 48 gigs is going to be designed for at this time. One thing that I don't fully understand, well, actually, let me just say this. I don't think it's going to end up using 900 watts because the higher end, like workstation cards, usually tend to be more efficient than the gaming cards. Not necessarily lower power, but more efficient.
Yes.
So seeing that kind of power in a workstation, they want to be able to sell these things to a customer that doesn't necessarily have to change their whole system and plan around the GPU. So maybe not that much power. But I got a solution.
Oh, here we go.
GPUs use 12-volt power. So you put a couple barrel jacks on the end, throw in a couple 300-watt power bricks, and you get 600 watts externally.
All right, I quit. Are you talking about that video of that guy from China that did that?
Did someone do that?
Someone actually took like a 3090, ripped off the 8-pin, dual 8-pins, and they literally just put on a 12-volt barrel connector, and it worked great.
Hey, if it works... But why not? Why not make it so that it has, it's a disconnected power rail from the PCI Express power, which it typically is anyway. Throw a barrel jack on the I/O shield and include a 300-watt brick so that you don't have to upgrade your ATX power supply.
Yes, true. But I must stress, there's a reason why there's those other pins, right? Like communication and data for other things. So
Never needed them before.
okay, yeah, true, it'll work, but like there might be certain features on the car that suddenly get disabled, right? Like, you know,
Oh, I'm not suggesting you do it, but I'm suggesting that in the future, NVIDIA could do it.
yes, NVIDIA could do it, and for servers it would make more sense because you already got 12 volts there, and it makes sense because, you know, it's not going to be a standardized configuration, thus being $30,000. That's a rumor
But
price I actually
honestly-
did see.
Honestly, man, I know I like joked about it at some point previously, but it wouldn't really surprise me if we start to see like external GPUs that are powered and connected through like Thunderbolt or whatever, or if there's some new interface that externalizes a PCI Express slot sometime in the future, and these things are just sold as like graphics accelerators as an add-on.
A graphics
you
amplifier,
may or may not need it.
like from Alienware that died. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah, but seriously, why not? Like, if the price was the same as an internal GPU, it might make more sense because you can also have external power, and you might not always need it. You might, if you wanted to add that kind of power to a laptop, for instance, just.
Don't
But yeah,
die
if there's
in
a
the process,
900
you know?
watt, if there's a 900 watt desktop GPU, oh man. I don't know.
I don't know how
think
we're gonna be
that's
able
just
to.
too
It's
far.
gonna have to be liquid cooled. It's gonna be a hybrid for sure. Like, there's no way around it.
900 watts, yeah.
Let's do a chat response, then kind of go into the closing. Then,
Yeah.
let's go over chat. Let's see. CPPC Tech says if things keep going this way, we will need to have electricians rewire our house to run a GPU. Cedric says, haha, the infamous RTX 4090 power consumption. LOL, I might consider invest in a home nuclear power plant for running my games for the future. Hey, I am actually a big proponent of nuclear power, and I could talk about that in another podcast if you guys like. New England Crypto says 900 watts. Does it come with a grow tent and a high power exhaust fan to keep it cool? That might not be a bad idea. Cedric says, and here I thought companies were all about green, save the planet. Clearly they're lying to us. No, they just want our money. New England Crypto says, TekShinji, did you hit the ad button again? I was served an ad midstream again. Yeah, I meant to click on something else. I did that on accident. Sorry guys. Thanks for the 1/40th of a penny. Soul7 says, TekShinji, they were saying in that video the connectors are able to handle 60 amps. Oh, wow. No, thank you. Please, let's get more efficient. Not just make it more efficient, then take more power.
Yeah, so
Man.
I think when you're dealing with a card that uses extreme levels of power like that, you're really narrowing its audience to begin with, and that might be intentional. People are probably going to start buying mid-range cards as like the most. I mean, we looked at the 30 series and seeing like 3090 Ti pricing, and I think, I don't know, it's tough to say, but I think most people are looking at that as like a hard limit in terms of price and value. But I think NVIDIA would be happy for you to use their streaming service as an alternative.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
They're not really. What's that?
Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, I think they're gonna make it so that GPUs are either like so expensive and unnecessary that people just go with the streaming service to get the same performance, but at a relatively cheaper price because you're, subscription based or on demand based.
If you want to just keep up on chat for a moment, I'll be right back. Like 2 minutes.
Yeah, so let me know if you guys have anything more to comment. I think we are caught up on chat here. New England Crypto, YouTube needs to start giving me money before I start giving them money. I guess that makes sense, yeah. Got MC in here. What's up, man? Yeah, so like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, getting rid of my Threadripper setup, and it's not because it's an end-of-life socket, essentially. It's just because I don't take advantage of 32 cores. I'd rather take advantage of 16 faster cores than 32 slower cores because just because programs are more optimized for that number of threads. And just going back to what's going on with me lately in the last week or so, I do have a 3D printer and I fired it up. You know, honestly, I've had a 3D printer for maybe 1 or 2 years, I forget, and it's usually a headache. So getting things to print consistently, getting things to stick, I've had so many issues since getting into 3D printing, and I'm not necessarily blaming the printer because I don't really know what I'm doing, honestly. You find a lot of information online, but you don't necessarily know what the problem is unless you're fairly familiar with these 3D printers. And, you know, you might be running into issues with bed temperature, filament temperature, bed level, and even just the surface. Some people use glass beds, some people use magnetic beds, some people use glue sticks on the bed. So all that stuff, you know, but I think I've pretty much figured out what I'm going to do. I've been getting better prints. I think I've kind of dialed it in to where I want it to be, but I am thinking of, mine came with a glass bed. I am thinking of going with a magnetic bed, which does have a little bit more of a texture to it and helps with initial first layer adhesion. Soul 7 says operate error. I appreciate you pointing that out. Let's see. Which 3D printer did you get? I have an Ender 5 Plus, which is, it's made by Creality, and it's a fairly large bed. I think it's like 350 or 370 millimeter by, you know, roughly square, but not quite. So it's a pretty large bed, so I can do larger prints or multiple prints, but MC says, I suck at 3D printing. I'm in the same boat. Yeah, I mean, for me, honestly, I was having these issues, especially with first layer just not sticking. And I think, honestly, it ended up being my bed temperature being too high. And as I troubleshooted it in the past, I was always thinking my bed temperature was too low. And I was increasing it. So I was like printing at 60C bed, 70C bed, and it ended up just being terrible. Then I tried 50, and I was getting actually better results, lowering it even more. This particular filament I was using said you don't even need a heated bed. So, yeah, I'm actually getting better at it than I was in the past. Looks like Shinji's back. We are caught up on chat. We were just talking about 3D printers a little bit.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, that's gonna be it for GPU stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're done with our topics. Yeah, we all caught up on chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, 3D printing stuff. So if you guys don't know, I actually had a 3D printing business for about 2 years where I just print whatever you want and ship it off. It mostly did cosplay props. My angle at the business was to provide the best quality. Turned out that was a really bad idea because people did not.
You were running resin, right?
Huh? What?
You were using resin?
No, I was doing FDM, regular, you know, with the melted plastic. But what I was doing that was different than everyone else's, my resolution was like 0.2 millimeters. It was very high resolution prints. And the problem with that was it took a long time, like significantly longer, like 2 to 3 times longer. And because of that, my operational costs were more expensive. And it turned out most people did not care about the quality. They didn't want to pay more for quality. They just wanted something cheap and ugly.
Yep. I know what you're saying, man.
Yeah, I wish there was more people like me, but no, actually, no, I don't. No, that'd be dangerous. That'd be bad. So yeah, it was fun, but I was bleeding like $300 a month and working like 15 hours a week, and the machine's running literally 24/7. I had it on software, so as soon as you took the build plate off and put a new one on and hit ready, it would just take the next project in queue and keep constantly going. Like they never turned off.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. That was so stressful. So real quick, I just want to go over some members in the chat. So If you guys don't know, you can actually become a loyal follower as a YouTube member. And what it does right now, it doesn't get you a lot of benefits at the moment, but the future benefits are coming. Trust me, I'm just in the middle of a move, and it's a lot of work. If you guys were here earlier, told you about the maid story. Well, that's also adding more workload on me. It does give you future benefits coming up, and for those that are or have been members, I am going to do something for you guys in the future eventually to make up for this lost time. But MC has been a loyal follower for quite some time now, and of course Soul7 just recently became a follower. Thank you so much to everyone that is a YouTube member. I really appreciate you guys being here, because you guys really help the channel. Every little bit counts, really, it does. So I appreciate you guys being here. And yeah, MC's been a member for 5 months. So yeah, that's why his icon looks a little different. I think after 3 months it changes to that green. Let's see. Cedric says, haha, learned that lesson at the beginning of the pandemic when I was printing mask retention mechanism for people. Yeah, it becomes a nightmare. It becomes production hell, as Elon Musk would say. Let's see. So Andrew, we're gonna have some collaborations coming up, right?
You tell me.
Yeah, apparently someone we know we've already collabed with might be coming over on the 14th to film more content.
That would be fun. What do we got planned? Or are we gonna have to wait and see?
We're gonna have to wait and see, but I'll hint that so I'm moving the whole thing. All of it, the whole studio. Most of it will be moved by the time, but we got a lot of good content coming on studio projects. The new house, which is basically going to become TekShinji's headquarters. It's just going to be me, and no one else will be living there, so it'll essentially become, the whole house is going to be converted to a studio.
It's going to be just like this technological masterpiece, right?
Yeah, 100%. The house is going to be so modern and amazing. Actually, guys,
it's gonna look like a normal house on the outside, but you go in and it's like all AI powered.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, that Tesla robot will come and take your coat, and if you don't have one, it'll just rip the shirt off your back.
Yeah.
May I take your coat, please? Oh, you don't have one? I will take this instead. And
take your skin.
Take your skin. Wow, that's worse than iRobot. Yeah, so it's actually it's you know, I got it for an okay price considering the market. But it is mine now, and it's nice to be a homeowner, I guess. But yeah, we got a lot of collaborations and content on that coming up all this month. We're gonna do a ton of filming, a lot of moving, and you'll see those probably within 2 months or so.
Can't wait to see it.
I know you can't wait to see it. Let's read chat here. Andrew, how you doing on time? Because I'm just kind of doing the ending.
Yeah, I'm ready to get off here whenever.
All right, so let me just finish up chat, and then we will go ahead and close out the stream. CPP Tech says, I'm trying to become a member, but YouTube is acting odd. Oh, really? Yeah, if it is, let me know, and because that means other people might be having issues. Usually it's when your payment method isn't confirmed. Soul7 says, this guy, just a small fishy. That's only because you just recently became one like 3 weeks ago, actually. Thank you so much, by the way. I really appreciate it, man. Oh, if you do become a YouTube member, it is the equivalent of being level silver in the Discord, which will also open up other benefits, including an exclusive chat. Let's see here. MC says, awesome community. I have learned so much from you all. That's why I try to support. Thank you so much, MC. You've been a member for a while, so I really appreciate it. New England Crypto says, TekShinji World Headquarters. Yeah, maybe I should call it that. TSWH. I don't know what that sounds as an acronym. There's no vowels in it. Y2K Anonymous. Hey, what's happening? Hello, fellow cypherpunks. I like that. Not cyberpunks. How you doing, man? Welcome to the stream. I see you every now and then. Let's see. Dave Collins, the Nerd House. Yeah. Cedric says, congratulations on the new Wayne Manor. Oh man, no, it's definitely not a Wayne Manor. Nope, it is definitely not Batman's house. It's far from it.
How many levels does the basement have?
1.
Oh,
No,
you don't have like
no,
a special cave entrance?
no. It's actually the basement's actually quite shallow. It's basically a very deep crawl space, basically.
Okay.
But the utilities are down there. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys. If you don't have any other questions, let us know. Chat's about 30-second delay, so let me know if you guys have any questions. Yeah, but me and Andrew are definitely planning some things coming up. Andrew's got on a little bit of a time limit, so we're just gonna try to end the stream earlier than normal, which never happens.
Yeah, I mean it's been an hour and a half stream, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean we're trying to aim for an hour, but that never happens. We're gonna have to redo something to try to get it down to an hour. But I want to still do 4 topics. That's the hard part. It's very difficult to segment it to where we don't go past that. There's just so much information on it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I don't see anything else in the chat, so thank you to everyone that joined us in the stream tonight. Remember, we're gonna have this. We're gonna try to aim for 7 p.m. every week now. Excuse me. Yeah, so 7 p.m. every week, every Saturday. This has been the Tek Torrent Podcast. We will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much to everyone that came by. Andrew, do you have anything else?
No, man, it's been a good stream. Really appreciate the everyone talking in the chat. That helped us carry it along without just talking to each other. So that's always welcome.
Yeah, we could only talk to each other so much before we.
We like the thoughts that you guys share. So be sure to share them in the Discord as well.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. And a quick plug is the Discord. If you are not in it already for some reason, it is linked down in the description below. Go ahead and get joined. Go through the verification. And you will be in one of the best communities, I think. So let me just say something real quick before we go. How many scammers and nefarious people have been in our Discord?
0.
Yeah. Can any other Discord say that? Okay, maybe there's several that can say that, but any Discord at our size that can say that. I don't think so. So
Okay.
I think it is a pretty good thing. All right, guys. Thank you to everyone that joined. See y'all later. Bye.